Hello, welcome to another episode of the EJB Talk Show. Today I have a very special guest, choral conductor and also singer. I have Tyrese Walters here today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you so much for doing this. So you are currently a first-year master's student in choral conducting.
Yeah.
So how have you liked U of T so far since you've been here?
It's been honestly really great. I grew up kind of in the GTA.
Okay.
So I was excited to come back. I was at Western in London. So it's kind of nice coming back and kind of being a part of the music scene. There's never a dull moment. There's always stuff going on. So
Right.
I'm really grateful to be feeling like I'm in the epicenter of everything that's going on.
Right. And your undergrad was in performance, correct? And now it's in conducting, so it's technically a whole program shift. How is
Yeah.
kind of this new program been for you?
It's it's similar in some ways and different in some ways. It's technically a performance
How so?
master's, I guess. I do studio lessons. I have
Really?
performance seminar, or conducting seminar. But I guess it's just the main difference is just I'm not singing all the time.
Right.
I actually was, I think last week, looking through my iPad at all of my old repertoire folders and assignments
Oh,
for my
man.
performance classes. And in fourth year I had a performance seminar. I had French diction. I had studio lesson, studio class. Basically all my courses were basically voice performance classes. And I was holy cow, I was singing a lot. I was doing so much. I don't even remember what that's like. And I feel
Right.
I've totally shifted my my focus on things. And I'm still singing obviously in choirs and stuff,
Right.
but it's just the fact that I'm not singing every single day, or singing I guess solo rep every single day,
Right.
which is such a huge change.
Right. I'm gonna get back to your professional side of music, but I want to work a bit from the beginning. So I want to ask, what would you say is your earliest musical memory of music impacting you that you could recall?
Oh, okay. So earliest I remember when I was really young. So music was kind of always around in my
Right.
house.
Your family super into music kind of thing?
Yeah, super into music. My mom had played piano. She had piano lessons when she was younger. Played violin. She played in
Also classically kind
yeah
of thing.
yeah
Oh,
kind of
wow.
classically. She played in I think it's the Mississauga Symphony Youth Orchestra when she was younger.
Wow.
And we were just generally interested in listening to music. We just always was playing music in the house. And I remember my cousins and my aunts would make me and my brother I guess, I don't know, lack of better, mixtapes, I guess, on
Really?
CDs, and it burn all of our favorite songs onto it.
Right.
And we just played on my CD player, and it would just be it'd be Complicated Avril Lavigne, and then just this, it was I think I still have it at home. I haven't played it in so long, but that was probably one of my earliest, I just
Music is sick.
yeah, I was that's cool. I
Yeah.
love this. So
That's sick.
yeah.
When was the beginning of you personally getting involved with music yourself?
I think all throughout elementary school, I loved music class, and we did little kids musicals and stuff. So
Right.
I did that. But I remember it was in the 6th grade, and my music teacher, who I actually work with now, funny
wow.
enough, she literally forced me to audition for the school musical, which was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Wow.
And I was interested in auditioning. I was already in the choir, in a chamber choir.
Would you say you were casually singing before then? Or
Yeah.
were you taking lessons?
I wasn't taking lessons at that
Right.
point. It was just kind of what I was doing in school, and it was
Right.
I just thought it was fun.
Right.
But then she made me audition for the musical, and I remember saying to myself oh, I'm not gonna audition. I'm gonna wait until I'm in the 7th grade. I'm in 6th grade. I'm too young. But then I ended up switching it. What was that? Yeah, I completely. She just made me audition.
Right.
And I was I guess I'll audition, whatever. I ended up getting I ended up playing Judah, it was kind of a lead, I guess. Not really, but I had a big kind of solo.
Right.
And that was my first kind of, I guess, big thing.
Like performing. Right.
Yeah, and I was like, I love this, and it was just like so much fun. And then I kept doing it, I guess, throughout middle school, and then I ended up going to an arts high school.
Okay.
Where I majored in voice, and
Right.
then
And
yeah.
like, and that was more geared in like a classical sense of singing, right?
We did some kind of classical stuff, but we actually got to do a lot of different things. So every unit was like, we start off with like an Italian like aria, and we do like a jazz standard. We did musical theater. We do small chamber group stuff.
Right.
So we kind of got to do everything, which was really nice. So I felt like I was pretty like, I guess, well-rounded,
Diverse, and
which was fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So from there, like, how would you say that, like, or what was the point where you were like, music is something you were really taking seriously? Was there kind of a shift that you'd say, or like?
Yeah, I remember the day that I decided I was gonna study music. All throughout high school, like I liked music. I didn't see myself like pursuing it as a career.
Really? How come? Just as like it wasn't really on your mind?
Yeah, it just wasn't really on my mind. It was like it wasn't. I have very supportive parents, and like it wasn't even like, oh, I felt like I wouldn't make money. I just didn't think about it. I don't know why. I was like originally kind of wanting to go into like kind of media production, media studies, journalism, communications, like that kind of stuff. I just thought I liked to talk, so I figured that would be it. I don't know. Yeah. And then it was the university like preview day at my high school, and like reps from every university would like come, and you would sign up for different sessions, and they messed up my login time or whatever, and so I didn't get to pick what sessions I wanted. So I was placed in random sessions, and it was York, U of T, and I think Laurier. Yeah, York, U of T, Laurier. And I went to the York one, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I didn't go to the U of T one because I wanted to move out. Love my family, but I wanted to move out. So I was like not really thinking of going to U of T for undergrad. And then, so I skipped and went to the Western one. Okay. And I didn't want to go to Western originally. And then I bumped into someone in the hallway because I didn't want to go to my last one because I just didn't care. And I was like, oh, where are you going right now? And she was like, oh, I'm going to the Laurier one. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go. Might as well. I don't have any other plans right now. And so I went to the Laurier one, and the rep who was there had done her Bachelor of Music and was doing her MA in community music. And just the way that she talked about how much she loved studying music and how like she couldn't see herself doing anything else, I was like, oh crap, like
that's me.
I can't see myself doing anything else.
Right.
Like I need to do this. And it was just like that moment. I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna apply to music school. And I was like, yeah, that was like the shift. Like I remember that so clearly.
Right. So when you were in high school, were you like taking lessons like that? Like was that when you kind of started to take lessons, or not even? It was still kind of like with school. Like
so I started taking lessons in the 7th grade.
Okay.
After like the musical I did in 6th grade.
Like a little middle school kind of era.
My parents were like, oh, like I guess you're kind of serious about this, and they signed me up for lessons. And so I did lessons like mostly from then until I stopped a little bit, and like I think early like grade 9 or grade 10. And then when I decided I was going to go into music school, then I started doing lessons again.
Right. So then from there, like going into your undergrad at Western, like how like confident in yourself musically would you say you were at that point?
I think I would say I was like pretty confident, like not overly confident, but I was like, I like to sing, and we all like to sing, and I'm here for a reason. So
how well versed were you in like classical repertoire for voice at the time?
Like I wouldn't say like I didn't have like too much like knowledge on it, but like my lessons starting in high school, like my private lessons were all classical, and I did a little bit of musical theater. So I didn't like know all that much, but I guess in my program as well, like we touched a lot of different repertoire, like classical repertoire. So like coming into first year, there was like a decent amount that was like, oh, I recognize that piece, or like I've sang that before. But yeah, I definitely feel like I kind of had like a very diverse kind of music mindset, I guess, going into undergrad.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it,
So,
but
it's okay. No, that's actually like perfect enough though. But like in your undergrad, like how would you describe kind of your time there at Western?
it was really good. Honestly,
Yeah.
I missed it a lot for a lot of reasons, but I'm also happy to kind of move on.
Yeah.
I think
You've served your time there.
yeah,
right?
I definitely think I served my time there. I had a lot of like growth, I think, at Western, which is why I look back at it so fondly, because like it taught me a lot. When I started at Western, I was originally it's like, I guess I know it's different at U of T for the most part, but at
you
Western
began, like, a
you start
common-
common year, so everyone's in basically the same program, but people have like ideas of what they want to do usually. And I originally wanted to go into music ed because like I want to be a teacher, like that's kind of what I want to do.
You
because
loved your teachers.
Yeah, I love teaching. Yeah, I love my teachers, and I really wanted to I don't know, kind of continue, I guess, their legacy and like inspiring other people to do the
Right.
same. And then I don't know, I don't remember why, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll audition for the performance program, because you can audition after first year or after second year. And I auditioned, and then I was kind of like, oh, maybe I don't know if I want to teach like immediately. And like, I don't know, I like to perform, it's fun. And I think also I wanted to really have a good handle on performance, because I thought that like having a good, strong like performance background would also help me teach.
That's right.
And so I ended up auditioning for performance, and I got in, and so I finished it in performance, or finished my degree in performance. But I had like, and again, like I guess COVID started at the end of my second year.
Right.
And so my third year was like basically all COVID, COVID you, if you will. And I think kind of from then on, I started to honestly hate music,
Really?
which is like, I don't know what changed. I think it was like COVID made it difficult, and like studying something that like you love, that was like, maybe I wouldn't call it like maybe a hobby in high school, but it was essentially just like a really elevated hobby in a sense, where even though it was like everything I did was singing, and then doing it for grades, or doing it and like you feel like you're being compared to other people, or that you feel like you can't do anything else other than like practice and learn your music and perform. It like made me hate it.
Yeah.
Like
how did you kind of cope with that sense of like, this thing that you loved, like the side thing to do from homework in high school is now like work? Like how was that something that you coped with?
Yeah, well, at first I didn't really cope well with it at all.
Right.
I actually was like, I'm gonna transfer programs. I was gonna, it was like pretty intense how much I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Like it's too much for me, and it's just, I can't explore what I want to do outside of music in the same way that like I see my friends who are in other programs could kind of explore different things. And so I was like, I enrolled to do like a dual degree, because I couldn't double major for some reason. It just wasn't possible to do it with a Bachelor of Music at Western, so you had to do like a dual degree.
Right.
And so my plan was to just like do a general Bachelor of Music, like comprehensive program, and then do a dual degree in political science.
Wow.
Because I was still really interested in that, and I was like, maybe I'll go to law school.
Yeah.
And that was like my plan. All of third year I did like half the honors music program and half like honors second year poli-sci.
Wow.
Which was a lot. And it was like also like during COVID, so I was like overloading like to the max on courses, and it didn't really help. And I feel like that the root of the problem wasn't that I didn't like studying music. I just had like a bad relationship with studying music, and like kind of my outlook on like growth as a musician, and like understanding that like, yes, like we're all in the same program, but we're all at different points in our journey to being a performer and to being a musician. And that like I can't look at other people and think, oh well, if they're in third year and I'm in third year, but they sound like that and I sound like this, like how does that add up? Like how do I like, but then kind of remembering that like we're in the same program, but it doesn't mean that you are the same artist. Like you are different. And that's what makes this journey so important, is that like you're coming from like different backgrounds and you're learning different things so you can become a better musician for yourself and not for others. And I think too, like it was kind of a huge switch basically studying only classical. I didn't have a lot of time to do any like musical theater stuff.
Yeah, but you were interested in other things too, right?
Yeah, and just like in general, like outside of music. Like I was interested in political science, media studies, but like I couldn't take as many courses as I wanted to unless I had overloaded. I was very involved with the orientation program at Western, but I often felt like I was like just like running thin on like I have like all this time I have to practice and do all this like music work, but I have to do all this stuff for orientation. But then I'm a club exec on here. Like I had all these like interests, but I just really struggled to find the time to do it all.
Right.
And so I thought, I was like, maybe I'll just drop music. But I'm glad that I'm very glad that I stayed with it, because like it was just like kind of reminding myself that like why you love music, and like taking time out of my day to like sing music that I actually really enjoy singing too. Like I would sometimes for like a practice session, I would like throw in like a musical theater karaoke, and like that can be like your little warm up. Just for fun. So
I'm gonna ask you two questions here. They're kind of very linked, but how would you describe your end goal, like your perception of your end goal at the beginning of your undergrad, and then like your perception of your end goal in like the third year of your undergrad, where that all was happening?
Wow, that's a great question. I think my end goal at the beginning of first year for sure was like, it was a plan. I'm going to graduate my Bachelor of Music Ed. I'm going to go to Teachers College, get my Bachelor of Education, and I'm going to teach. And it was like clear cut. That's the plan. Just go for it. And then like kind of nearing the end of third year and fourth year, I think especially the end of third year, when I started to like kind of come back into myself and like enjoy music again, I was like more open to being open about what my end goal is, and like realizing that like I don't need to like,
it doesn't have to be this one thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this one thing, or I don't have to like do this immediately or feel like constrained by like anything. I can take a couple years off, I can travel, I can work, I can do solo stuff, or I can go right into teaching, or I can, you know what I mean? Like I have so many more options than like just teaching or just slugging it away and like auditioning for things. And like, so I think I think the biggest thing was that like I realized that I can literally do whatever I want.
Right. And where was like, this is gonna be like poorly worded, but you're gonna understand the question, but it's like, where did you kind of like learn that information from, that like there were more like options? Like, was it like some point in your undergrad, like you were talking to your teachers, like what would you say?
I think there was like a mix of things. One of it was like really leaning on my friends that were like just really close to me. I had a lot of like really close friends in the music program, but I also had a lot of close friends who were not in the music program. And so I think all of the people close to me kind of knew what I was interested in and knew that I loved music, but I also loved other things, and really encouraged me to like not feel like that was like music was the only thing I could do, and like remind me like, you are like talented at this, or you love this, like you can pursue all those things, or you can feel fulfilled with all of those things. And even I remember telling my studio teacher, I guess before my third year recital, and I was so scared to talk to him. I was like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna hate me, he's gonna kick me out of the studio because I don't want to sing anymore. And I was like, honestly, like I was like straight up with him. I was like, I feel like I've lost this love for music that I once had. And while I was like, I don't want to stop singing, but I think I'm going to take a step back from like the performance program, and just like, this is like, these are my goals. I think I want to go to law school. This is what I'm doing. And he was so supportive.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, he was a nice guy. I wasn't like scared he was going to be mean, but you know, it's just like, it felt like I was disappointing him in some ways. But he was so supportive, and was like, no matter what you choose, I know that you will succeed because you have all these skills and you can do whatever you put your mind to. And he was like, I'll always be there for you if you ever need like references for law school or like anything, like I can talk it through with you, I'll be there with you. And I think that support helped me feel comfortable in not feeling too set in what I wanted to do, and like just figuring out and just going for what I loved. And so knowing that I had very supportive people, and my parents were also so supportive of like whatever I wanted to do, and so having those people kind of around me to remind me that like you can do whatever you want, you just need to put your mind to it. I think that is what really helped.
Right. So reaching, towards the end of your undergrad, like where was your mind at when you were like, I'm gonna apply to U of T for choral conducting? Is it like before you answer, I kind of have like, is it just because like I feel like choral conducting is like that middle of like teaching and like performing. Is that kind of where your mind was at, you'd say?
That's like almost exactly where it was.
Right.
And I also loved choir. Like I think that was in high school I was like especially grade 11 and 12 I was in like 6 different choirs, like at school, outside of school. In grade 12 I like got to co-conduct a tenor bass ensemble in my high school
What year?
in grade 12.
Grade 12, wow.
Like with my
Yeah.
best friend, and like so I always loved choir. And I didn't really understand choral conducting programs until I guess near the end of my undergrad.
You had to like,
Yeah, and then I was like,
time
oh,
was
this is
running
like
short,
perfect.
you
Yeah.
should look into it.
And then I was like, this is like, you're right, it's perfect. It's like the mix of like I get to teach and I get to like facilitate like group music making, which
Yeah.
is something that I really value.
And you're like at the face of it too.
Yeah,
Like,
but also it's just fun to be a part of, and like I just love singing and like being in like group music settings. And yeah, so it kind of just made sense for me to apply. Yeah.
besides that grade 12, well, was that your first conducting experience, or have you had like lots of like experience throughout? Like,
I think I could like we had like conducting units in high school, like as part of
Really?
our which is
that high school. Dude.
yeah, it was pretty.
Like-
It was pretty well rounded. I was very shout out Cawthor Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was yeah. So I did conducting there. We had like a little bit of. We did some choral. We did some I guess wind band conducting.
Oh, wow.
But I think yeah, grade 12 that was like my biggest I guess like first conducting thing, and then I took conducting courses throughout my undergrad, but I didn't end up really conducting anything until 4th year, and then I started a student choral initiative with another friend in my program, and then yeah.
Wow, shoot. So, coming into here now, like for your master's, did you kind of like know what you were gonna get into already with all that research, or were you kind of like let this kind of take me wherever?
I think I don't know. I think I had expectations for myself, and I think I still have expectations,
What expectations did you say?
like about what I want to do
Okay.
after my master's. And I think originally I came into this, and again, I love school. And I think that's
Really?
like, I just love learning. Like
Right.
me and my friend talked about this a lot, how like if I could just go to school and just learn everything, and there's like for the rest of my life, and there's like no deadlines, just whatever, I would do it, because it's just like it's just fun to like learn new things. And so I was very much like, go get my master's and then go do my DMA, and then
wow.
figure it out from there. And then started my master's, and I was like still kind of on that, like, yeah, I'm gonna get my DMA after this, like I'm gonna do research, and like I hadn't no clue what that even like really entails.
Right.
But I just kept saying to myself like, oh, do your DMA. And then kind of now I've realized like, okay, like maybe you want some time off from school.
Yeah.
Like you kind of I went like right through from undergrad into this, and so yeah, I was like, okay, DMA will always be there. Like you don't have to do it right now. You can be 23 or you can be 53.
Yeah.
Like it'll always be there.
Right.
And so I think it's changed to more again, less expectations of myself. Like just go with, pursue the opportunities that you love and that like make you feel fulfilled in what you like to do, and that is what is the most important.
Right. And how has Toronto and in general U of T like treated you so far, like in terms of like your opportunity?
It's
here?
been really great. Again, like there's no shortage of like arts and culture and music
Right.
in Toronto, which is like, I think it was overwhelming at first, but it was also like nice to know. And I loved being at Western, and like it's a great school, but it's so small compared to Toronto.
Yeah.
And like
Not really the classical music performance hub of there.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great music happening in
Yeah.
London. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a lot of great choirs, a lot of great musicians that are there. I think I was just ready to come back. I had a
Yeah.
lot of friends who stayed in Toronto.
I was gonna say, like, did you come in here already, like knowing some people? In the
Yeah, so I had a
choir
couple of
scene?
friends. Well, one person in my program, Nathan, I've known for a couple years, just being in choirs together. And then I knew some people who were in their 4th year, or currently in their 4th year undergrad. And then I have a friend who just graduated jazz last year.
Nice.
Other people who studied at York and Humber. So
Right.
a lot of my friends who stayed in music or stayed in kind of the performing arts are still in Toronto. So it was like nice to kind of come back and feel like I have people that I can like do art things with.
Right.
Yeah.
What particular opportunities that happened this year that would, let me try that again. what like opportunities in conducting has like really impacted you this year that you want to share about?
Yeah,
right
so currently I'm the assistant conductor of the ensemble Encore with the organization Young Voices Toronto, which is a choir organization in like Bloor West Village, and it's like geared towards like youth. And I work with the SATB, sort of high school age. Like right now we're kind of ages grade 7 to 12.
Okay.
I think maybe some grade 6 as well. And I didn't, as I mentioned before, I wanted to go into teaching originally, and then kind of a little bit into that, I was like, maybe I don't love working with kids. I don't know, like I did summer camp and all this stuff, and it was fun, but I was like, maybe this is not like my, I don't know. It was like, I was like, that stresses me out. Like it was a lot of like just working with young people that like I was like, maybe I don't want to do this right now. And then my musical music teacher, Carol Anderson, now works for Young Voices Toronto as the artistic director. And she'd actually had let me know, like, oh, we're hiring an assistant conductor. You're going into conducting. I think you should apply. And I applied and I got the position, and I was like, okay, like I'm excited. I've worked with kids before. I know how to do this. But at first I was like, oh my gosh, like you swore you would never work with kids after doing summer camp. Granted, I taught dance at summer camp, so it was like completely different from music, but and then I was like nervous. I was actually so scared. I did the audition with them, and I was like, this is a really incredible choir. Like they're so great. I was like, okay, maybe it'll be okay. Like, you'll be fine. And then did, like, the summer prep. And then we did our, like, camp retreat. And I was like, oh, my gosh, this is, like, so much fun. Like, I love working with them. And it was just, like, a huge, like, switch for me where I was, like, scared to work with, like, high schoolers. Just, like, I don't know. I'm 23 or 22, but, like, I feel so old now for some reason. But it just completely changed my perspective on, like, working with like groups with that age, and it's been so much fun, and I'm just so grateful that I get to do it, and I get to do it with my middle school music teacher, which is so like
crazy.
Full circle.
But
yeah, it's so much fun, and I love it.
That's awesome, man. How much would you say that you're like performing and like singing nowadays then? Because you're a performance major, in your undergrad, and that was kind of like your thing, but like you're like, how much opportunity have you given yourself, or has been given to you since you've been like in your master's in conducting?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess outside of like, I mean, I sing in a lot of choirs, I guess.
Yeah. Which ones?
So I sing at U of T. I sing with Macmillan Singers.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Which all the grad students are required to, but it's fun and I love it.
Yeah.
And then I sing with the Concreamus Chamber Singers. Which is, I guess, like a U of T kind of adjacent ensemble, which is really fun. I love performing with them. We perform all new music, which is just really great to, like, get to premiere works or, like, work with, like, composers that are, like, living and in the GTA, and, like, you get to, like, interact with them. And then I also sing with the Nathaniel Deck Chorale, which is a professional choral ensemble, and our like focus is performing music of like the African diaspora.
Nice.
Which is very African, Afrocentric, which has been such an incredible experience, and I get solo opportunities with them as well.
Nice.
Recently we're kind of in the midst of performing an opera right now. It's more in concert, we're not like staging it. And it's it's about the story about like Harriet Tubman.
Wow.
And I have a role in that as well, so I get to kind of go back to my voice performance undergrad roots and sing like a role with like I've quite a few like chunks of like recit and like aria in it, which is nice. Which is funny. I never saw myself ever performing opera after undergrad. I was kind of like, maybe not opera. And then they were like, oh, you'll be singing these roles in this opera. And I was like, okay, fun. And I was really scared to do it.
Right.
Because like, I love watching opera, and like so much respect for like people who like perform in operas, but after undergrad and having my fair share of like being in operas, I was like, maybe this is not for me.
It's like your real Toronto debut too, technically.
Yeah. Oh, I guess so. That's kind of crazy. So I guess that's my like the extent I've been doing kind of solo stuff recently, which is really fun, and it really it keeps me vocally healthy.
Right.
Like kind of still thinking about like my technique and like I think that's like I guess a strength of mine is having like good like technical background has like supported my conducting a lot. So yeah.
Right. How much would you say of that like eats up your time? Like you have to manage. Like I know you're crazy busy.
Yeah, it's honestly quite busy, and I love everything that I get to do. I think especially in first semester, I was like, because I TA for soprano alto chorus, so I'm assistant conductor with soprano alto chorus, and then first time I also was a TA for EMU 230 voice education, which is also very fun, and that was like a nice kind of like mix of like voice education, voice pedagogy, and also just like being a TA moment. I got to like coach students as well, which is like a new experience for me. And then I also work at Starbucks, so kind of juggling all of that, those kind of like 4 jobs with young voices, 2 here and then Starbucks, and then also full-time grad school is like pretty insane. I don't recommend doing all of those things. But it was all like fulfilling stuff, right? So it's like, I love the TA stuff. I love working at Starbucks, and a lot of people don't love working those jobs, but I actually love working at Starbucks. I pretend it's like a little game when I'm like making drinks, and also like my team is great, but not important. But yeah, so yeah, definitely really busy, and I feel like I struggle to find time for myself sometimes, or find time to do things that are like that I just like to do that aren't important or necessary. So yeah.
I'm gonna start wrapping this up. This has been an amazing talk with you, but I want to ask you, what are some personal goals you have for yourself from now to the end of the year? Musical goals and just general goals.
I have one musical goal, and I want to finish composing a choral piece.
Nice.
It's just like I was like, maybe I should compose something. It'll be fun. It'll be a good experiment. So my goal is to finish that before the end of the school year. So hold me accountable. I don't know if I will, but
it's on record.
Yeah, it's on record now. I have to finish it. And then I guess personal goals. I don't know. Keep prioritizing myself and keep prioritizing things that make me feel happy and fulfilled. Whether that's like an opportunity that's like performance related or music related, or just like going out to see something or doing something that's just like for fun, like trying to make sure I can prioritize that stuff, because that's where I feel like I went wrong in undergrad, where I didn't get to prioritize that stuff, and it made it really hard to want to keep doing music and just doing things. So
what would you say you prioritized instead then? Just like making sure you succeed without thinking about that stuff.
Or just like overloading on work and like just like only on my studies, instead of like I mean, okay, I'm also a big procrastinator, so this sounds so hypocritical, but like sometimes I'm like, you know what, like I can start my assignment a day later than I plan to if I'm going to go out with friends, because I'm not going to see them for a while. Like little things like that I think is so important, and like obviously like know yourself well. If you need time to do your assignment, do your assignment. And I'm
memory's worth more than
honestly
grade, you know?
Exactly. I'm like,
best grade,
the grade will be fine, like whatever, as long as you pass and
the work gets done,
get what you need. Exactly. The work gets done, but like I don't know, there was so many nights where I was like, oh, I regret not going out, or I regret not seeing my friends. But I was like, oh, I could have taken an extra day and waited this assignment later, but
do you have any upcoming events or performances you wanna put out there, dates at all?
March 4th, the Toronto University of Toronto Soprano Alto Chorus is performing with the Pax Christi Chorale. March 4th. Oh gosh, do I remember the time and day? Well, March 4th. I don't remember the time, I'm gonna be so honest, but check out Pax Christi Chorale on Instagram, and the information's there. It's gonna be a really cool concert.
Sick. So yeah, this has been Tyrese Walters on the EJB Talk Show. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Big thank you to Andrew Bush for getting this together. We actually have never really talked before.
Yeah.
But like Andrew said, it would be great to have you on, and he's right. It was awesome. Follow Ty on Instagram. His Instagram's down below. Keep up with all the cool things he does. He's absolutely killing it here in Toronto. And yeah, that's it from us. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks.